श्रीशैलेशदयापात्रम् धीभक्त्यादिगुणार्णवम् यतीन्द्रप्रवणम् वन्दे रम्यजामातरम् मुनिम् लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भाम् नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् यो नित्यम् अच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणम् प्रपद्ये लोकाचार्याय गुरवे कृष्णपादस्य सूनवे संसारभोगिसन्दष्टजीवजीवातवे नमः।
Asmad-Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmad-Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmad-Sarvagurubhyo Namaha. So we're going to continue with our Vacana Bhusanam.
Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimad Varavaramunaya Namaha, Pillalokacharya Tiruvadigalai Sharanam. Previously, Prapatti was shown as not to be thought of as an upayam or means. Next, the question is raised and answered by Pillalokacharya. If Prapatti is not a means, is there anything still needed from the Chetana side? Sutram number 60. Palattukku Atma Jnanamum Apratishethamume Venduvathu. Palattukku, that is, for the goal sought. He says two things are needed from the Chetana. One is Atma Jnanam, that is, knowing the nature of oneself. And two, Apratishetam, that is, not rejecting something. What is Atma Jnanam? It is knowing the nature of one's soul. This is the nature of being a Sesha, that is, being in his service and enslaved to him. He is Seshi, the recipient of the service, and he is Swami, our Lord, and we are the Sesha and Dasa to him. Not only that, we are Sesha and Dasa only to him. This is known as Ananyara Seshatva. This is shown in two words by Andal when she says, Narayanane Namakke. Also, the state of being a Raksha, that is also our nature. This is the nature of being protected by him. He is the Rakshaka, the protector, and we are the Rakshya, the protected. In this case also, only he is the Rakshaka for us, and we have no refuge other than him. These two are given to us through the Pranam in Tirumantram. The second thing is Apratishetam. That is, when he gives us that protection, all we need to do is not to reject it. He protects us without cause. His mercy flows as Nirhayatika Kripai. It is like the rain that pours on everyone and without expecting anything in return. All we need to do is just accept it. That means we don't take any effort to try and protect ourselves. We leave that entirely to him. And this is given to us through the Namaha Padam in Tirumantram. And the Narayanaya Padam in Tirumantram is shown through the Phalam or the fruit. Thus in this Sutram, the entire meaning of Tirumantram is included by Pillalokacharya. Our next question is, if we were to say that we have to do something for the fruit, what is the harm in it? Sutram number 61. Allada bodu pandattukkum purtikkum kottayam. Allada bodu, that is, instead of needing only the knowledge of the self and not rejecting his protection, if we said something is needed to be done by the Chetana, what happens? Pillalokacharya answers by saying two harms occur. Pandattukkum purtikkum kottayam. Kottai is harm or blemish. The two harms are Bandhattukkum, harm to Bandham, which is the relationship. Purtikkum, harm to Purti or completeness. That is his completeness. The relationship is that we are the Sesha and he is the Seshi. With this, he protects us without needing any reason for giving that protection. So any expectation that we have to do something would actually harm this relationship. Bandhattukku kottayam. And his completeness is such that he is the means without needing any act from us. So any kind of expectation that we have to do something would harm the nature of his being the means or his completeness. Purtikku kottayam. But we are all stuck in this samsara ocean, which is the cause of limitless sorrow. Thinking of that, we might feel that we should make any effort possible and consider that the prapatti too is our effort to attain him. We may feel that need as he is the one who can remove the danger of this samsara ocean. Is this not correct? Sutram number 62. ஆபத்தை போக்கிக் கொள்ளுகிறோம் என்று பிரமித்து அத்தை விழத்துக் கொள்ளாது ஒழிகையே வேண்டுவது. Pilalokacharya answers by saying that thinking like that will only lead us from one danger to another. Like the proverbial, from the pot into the fire. ஆபத்தை போக்கிக் கொள்ளுகிறோம் என்று பிரமித்து. Thinking that by doing prapatti at the lotus feet of the Lord, we are removing the danger of samsara and being stuck in this world. He says such a thinking is flawed. It is bewilderment. Attai viளைத்துக் கொள்ளாது ஒழிகையே. Attai means a new danger. Not wanting to create a new danger, which is the loss or destruction of our nature, which is being completely and solely dependent on him. We should not have that happen. Venduvathu. That is what is needed from the Chetana. That is, trying to escape from one danger, we should not create or enter into a new danger. But Lakshmi Tantram says, Rakshya apeksham pratikshate. That is, Perumal who gives protection expects the request or the prayer from the Chetana. Therefore, can we say that the Chetana's prayer is a requirement and therefore it is something that is needed for the fruit gained? Pilalokacharya answers in the next sutram, sutram number 63. Rakshanattukku apekshitam rakshatva anumadiye. Rakshanattukku apekshitam. That is what is needed for the protection from Perumal, who actually needs no cost to give that protection, is rakshatva anumadiye. That is just the acceptance or the consent from the Chetana when Perumal says, you are under my protection. So when Lakshmi Tantram says he expects the Chetana's desire or wish, that is apeksha, it simply means that the Chetana is consenting or agreeing to the protection and not denying or rejecting it. That is all. Nothing is actively required from the Chetana. But if he seeks the agreeance of the Chetana and then gives the protection, does that not make this agreeance a means? This is answered in the next sutram. Sutram number 64. எல்லா உபாயத்துக்கும் பொதுவாகையாலும் சைத்தன்ய காரியமாகையாலும் பிராப்தி தசையிலும் அனுவர்த்திக்கையாகையாலும் ஸ்வரூப அதிரேகி அல்லாமையாலும் அஜித் வியாவிருத்த வேஷத்தை சாதனம் ஆக்க ஒண்ணாது. The answer is no. Acceptance or not rejecting something does not make that a means. Reason number 1. This agreeance is common to all the real and actual means. Whether a person seeks things of this world or moksham, when they are told follow this method or that method, they then express their agreeance to that and then employ that means. In that case, they are following the means suggested, but the agreeance cannot be considered as another means. So this acceptance or agreeance is only a qualification for the person doing it, and it cannot be considered as a means to the goal. Reason number 2. The act of being protected is common to that which has sentience or consciousness, which is Chit, and that which does not, which is Achit. However, there is a difference here. Achit, while being protected, does not have the knowledge that it is being protected, but the Chit possesses knowledge and understands that protection. So the agreeance for protection can come only from a Chit. And that agreeance comes out of that knowledge. Since it is distinguished by the possession of knowledge, it cannot be a means. Reason number 3. Not only when seeking the goal, this agreeance continues even after reaching it. Perumal is a means, but he is also the goal. He is the upayam and the upayam. In the upayam state, or state of being the goal, he experiences the Chetana for his enjoyment. At that time also, the Chetana's agreeance is needed when he says, experience me as your divine heart sees fit to Perumal. If it was actually a means to the goal, this agreement should have been done with when the goal was attained, but it is seen to continue, so it cannot be a means. Reason number 4, being agreeable with Perumal, who is the Seshi, who accepts the service of the Chetana or the Sesha, is due to the nature of the Atma, which is Seshatvam, that is being in his service, and Paratantriyam, complete dependence on him. Therefore, this agreement cannot be a means that is external to this nature of the soul. Instead, it is part of the Chetana's nature itself. These are the 4 reasons given by Pradalokacharya when he says, Yalla upayattukkum podu agayalum, that is reason number 1. Chaitanya karyam agayalum, reason number 2. Prapti tasayilum anuvartikkai agayalum, reason number 3. Swarupa adireki allamayalum, reason number 4. And he says, Ajit vyavritta veshattai sadhanamakka onnadu. Ajit has no knowledge. Atma possesses knowledge which makes it different from the Ajit. So this acceptance comes out of that difference and therefore cannot be the means. This is Ajit Vyavritta Vesham. If we take this as Ajit Vyavritti Vesham, then it comes out of the difference of the nature of the knowledge that the Chit possesses and Ajit does not. And therefore again it cannot be made into a means. So for all these reasons, Pradalokacharya clarifies that we cannot make this acceptance as a means to goal. Alvar Embiramanar Jiyathiruvizhilaysharanam, Adiyen Madhura Kavidasa.
That's pretty complex there. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments before we go on?
So to summarize, the only thing we need to do is to accept his protection, huh?
Right.
And this protection is against what? Against what is he protecting?
It's protecting us against everything, against rebirth, against ignorance, he's giving
everything.
He's giving his protection, total protection.
Total protection against everything. Yeah. Okay.
But the last sutra was quite complex. It gives 4 reasons. 4 reasons why it's not actually something that we're doing. We're just accepting it. It's a passive acceptance of his protection. It's not an active thing that we're doing in the sense of an effort by the individual to be saved.
Right. Yeah.
I think the best example to always remember is the example of the drowning man or drowning person. The person who's drowning.
Yeah. Right.
You know, they can't save themselves. There's nothing they can do to save themselves. So you can say that the person who's drowning, he yells out for help. He calls out for help, and then he's saved. But is that really his effort that saved him, that he called out for help? I guess you can say that because he called out for help, he was saved. And the Lord looks to see if there's an acceptance by the soul. He looks to see if there's an acceptance by the soul of the Lord stepping in and saving him. And if we don't accept it, if we think we can do it ourselves, we can save ourselves, then he doesn't step in. So I mean, you do have to yell out, and you have to say, "Tavasmi, I'm yours," you know, save me. But at the same time, is it really an effort? Is it really part of the rescue? You know, like if somebody saves somebody from drowning, they don't usually congratulate the person who was drowning after they've saved and say, "Wow, you really saved yourself," by yelling out to yelling to the lifeguard to save me. You really saved yourself, so you performed a great task in saving yourself by yelling out to the lifeguard to save you. Normally, it's only the person who does the saving, the lifeguard who's saved, who is praised as being the person who actually did everything. You know, nobody thinks, "Oh, the person did something. He yelled out, 'Please save me.'" Nobody thinks about that.
No.
So it's not
No.
it's not really, it's just an acceptance that he needs to be saved, and he's not going to fight back. And actually, if he does fight back, if he doesn't accept it, then he's not going to be saved. He'll drown.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good example. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So the point is that as soon as we understand the real nature of the soul as total absolute subservience to the Lord, as soon as we actually understand that, we're saved. When we really know, yeah, of course, because we understand our position. When the drowning person understands he's drowning, he just gives up, and he's saved. He gives up trying to save himself, and he's saved by the other person.
Right.
But as long as he's struggling and thinking that he can save himself, then he doesn't understand his true nature. And it was also mentioned here that there's a relationship between the soul and the Lord of master and servant, master and slave. And if the slave thinks somehow he has some he has some say in it, say in what he does or how. If as soon as the slave thinks my opinion's worth something, I can say something to the master. He's not thinking like a slave anymore. He's changed the relationship.
Yeah.
If the slave says to the master says, "Slave, do this." The slave is not supposed to say, "Well, maybe I should do that, or maybe I should do this, or I think I'd like to serve you like this. I think I'd like to be a gopi." No, you be a blade of grass. Real slaveship, right? Real servitorship. Real understanding of your nature as being absolutely dependent and absolutely subservient, right? Means that you are ready to accept whatever he says, whatever he orders, whatever he does, even if he doesn't protect you or doesn't save you, like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshastika, even if he crushes me in his embrace, I'm always his servant. Both help you both. So that mentality, that is the mentality of the Prapana.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Yeah.
So when you don't have that mentality, what Piralokacharya is saying is it disturbs the real relationship, because you're not thinking that you're a slave.
Right. Yeah.
ஆழ்வார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், எம்பெருமானார் திருவடிகளே சரணம், பிள்ளைலோகாச்சாரியர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். In the previous several sutras, Pillailokacharya talks about how the surrender that is done by the soul is not the means to Lord Sriman Narayana, and he gave a lot of explanations beautifully over the past many sutras. Just previous to today, we saw that Pillailokacharya talks about a couple of important concepts. He talks about how all that is needed is the knowledge and the anumati, the acceptance of Lord Sriman Narayana saving us. That is what is needed. Rakshanatthukku apekshitam rakshatva anumatiye. That was 63rd sutram. The thing that is needed for saving is just the acceptance and allowing of Lord Sriman Narayana to save us, and not turn him away, not object, not put obstacles in his path. And he also talks in the 64th sutram about how the Achit Vyavrita Vesham, the difference that the soul has with the Achit, with the non-sentient beings. The soul is intelligent, the soul is conscious, the soul has some knowledge, has the ability to reason. How that is different from the non-sentient beings, like a rock or something like that. There is a difference between the soul and the non-sentient beings. And he talks about how this jnana and this anumati is a nature of the soul, and it is not a means. In today's sutras, he talks a little bit more about that. The set of sutras today are some of the most beautiful essence of the Sri Vaisnava Sampradaya. The sutras today convey to us the innermost meanings and the most experiential things that we can have with respect to the nature of relationship between us and Lord Sriman Narayana. And Pulelokacharya and Manavada Mamunigal use our Alvar's words in explaining these to us in a wonderful way. Let us enjoy them today. The 65th Sutra. Achit vyavrittikku prayojanam upayatil upakarasmritiyum upeyatil uhappum. So the question arises, what is the purpose for the soul to be intelligent, unconscious? Because that is the difference between the soul and the achit and the non-sentient beings. What is the prayojana? What is the purpose for the soul to have that capability for knowledge? Here he says, achit vyavrittikku prayojanam upayatil upakarasmritiyum upeyatil uhappum. Upayatil upakarasmriti. Upaya, of course, means, which is Lord Sriman Narayana, is the necessity to have upakarasmriti, to have a deep sense of gratitude, a deep sense of remembrance of the great help that Lord Sriman Narayana has given us. That is upayatil upakarasmriti. Upayatil uhappu is loving desire for what we attain, the service, the kainkarya at his feet when we attain him. These two things are to be known, and that is the purpose of the knowledge that the soul has, which is the difference between an intelligent being and a non-sentient being. Manavada Mamunigal beautifully quotes from Alvar's Pasurams here to make us understand, and let us see them. The first Pasuram that he quotes, the first two Pasurams in fact that he quotes, is from Kesavan Tamar Padigam in Thiruvaimozhi, and there are two beautiful statements, two beautiful words of Alvar's that are the essence of our Sampradaya. We will see that. Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai Marivitturum Maname Tandai. These are the two. Let us enjoy each one by one. So, Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai means, O Lord, you took away the negative things in my mind. So he says, Toomanattananai Piravitturadineenga Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai Unak Enseigen en Sridharane. Alvar says, O Lord, Toomanattananai, like someone who has a pure mind, you made me Piravitturadineenga in order to remove all the kleshas, all the sorrows from the repeated cycle of birth and death. Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai, you took away the negative things in my mind. Unak enseigen in Sridharane, what can I do in return for that great help that you have done, O Sridhara? What can I do? You made my mind pure by taking the negative things away from it. Now this Upakara Smriti is beautifully explained by Nambillai in his Edu commentary. The Sri Sukti or the sentence there is just wonderful, and it brings tears to our eyes every time we understand it, every time we do seva of it. அமிர்தத்தையும் விஷத்தையும் ஒக்க விரும்புவாரைப் போலே உன்னையும் உகந்து க்ஷுத்ர விஷயங்களையும் உகக்கும் பொல்லாத நெஞ்சை தவிர்த்தாய். He says, Nambillai says, Alvar means this when he says Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai. Imagine a person who has the same amount of liking for two things. One is Amrita, the divine nectar that gives long life, in fact that it gives life without death and gives great health all the time. So somebody who has Amritam is basically in a very good state. It will extend his life or her life infinitely and gives the best health for them. Now this person has the same amount of liking and desire for Amrita, the same liking he has for poison also. Poison which as soon as we drink it or eat it, it will cause severe suffering for us and we will die. The same amount of liking he has for both. And what are those both? They are metaphors. For Amrita is Lord Sriman Narayana. Just as how much love and affection one has for Lord Sriman Narayana, the same amount of liking and affection one has for the material things that take us away from him. That is what Nambillai explains here. When Alvar says Teemanam Kaduttai, this is what he means. And I should say that applies to us only, not for Alvar, because Alvar thought only about Perumal all the time. But for us, Perumal, even though we are in the material world, thinking about material things all the time, we think about that also, we think about Perumal also. So I think this sentence applies to us more than Alvar for sure. But that is the Upakara Smriti that Alvar has and we should have. Ennai Teemanam Kaduttai Unak Enseigen en Sridharane. Oh Lord, you took the negative things away from my mind and you oriented my mind towards you. That Upakara Smriti, that gratitude that Alvar has, we also should have. because of all the people in the earth, he has given that knowledge to us to actually want to think about him, want to go to him, want to enjoy his gunas. So that upakara smriti, that gratitude we should have, that is one of the purposes for the knowledge that the soul has. The second sentence is again even more beautiful. Marivittonum maname tandai vallaikan vamanane. This is also from the same padikam only. In fact, this pasuram is the pasuram immediately prior to the pasuram where Ennai Thimanam Kaduttai comes. Here, Nammalvar says, Thiruvikraman Sandamarai Kanyamman En Sanganivai Uruvil Polinda Vellai Palingi Nirattanan Ennennu உள்ளி பரவி பணிந்து பல்லூழி ஊழி நின் பாத பங்கயமே மறுவித்தொழும் மனமே தந்தாய் வல்லை காணன் வாமனனே. மறுவித்தொழும் மனமே தந்தாய். ஓ லார்ட், நின் பாத பங்கயமே மறுவித்தொழும் மனமே தந்தாய். பல்லூழி ஊழி நின் பாத பங்கயமே மறுவித்தொழும் மனமே தந்தாய். பரவி பணிந்து பல்லூழி ஊழி நின் பாத பங்கயமே மறுவித்தொழும் மனமே தந்தாய். He says, O Lord, for eons and eons to come, for long time and long time to come, you made my mind in such a way that it is situated in your lotus feet. Nin pada pangayame marivittonum maname tanda. You made my mind situated in your lotus feet and then worship and enjoy your gunas all the time. That mind you gave to me. Vallaikan, you are so capable, he says. Vallaikan and Vamanane, oh Vamana, you are so capable. You have changed my mind such that it is situated in your lotus feet and wants to worship you and enjoy your gunas for eons and eons and eons to come. That again is the Upakara Smriti that Alvar is showing. And we should have that also, isn't it, for Lord Sriman Narayana? Because he has given us that same knowledge. Maybe only a little bit of Alvar, what Alvar had, but he has given us that knowledge of knowing him, of thinking about him, of being able to enjoy some things, some gunas, whenever we think him or see him. That Upakara Smriti is what is needed. And that is the one of the key benefits of the knowledge. That is the purpose for the knowledge that the soul has, which makes it different from the non-sentient beings. This is the Upakara Smriti. The next thing that Pullelokacharya says is Upayatil Uhappu. Upaya is what we achieve. What we achieve once we attain Lord Sriman Narayana is Kainkaryam at his feet, isn't it? Upayatil Uhappu is a loving desire for the Kainkarya that we do at his feet. Here again he quotes from Nammalvar himself. This is the Thiruvaimuri. This is in the 10th decade, the 8th Thiruvaimuri. The 9th Thiruvaimuri in the 10th decade is where Alvar starts his journey for Archiradi. And this Pasuram is the 10th Pasuram of the Thiruvaimuri immediately before that, just before the Palashruti Pasuram. So one can say this is the last Pasuram that Alvar sung, and then the Palashruti for this Thiruvaimuri is there, and then he started the Archiradi Gati. So here he says, Utten uhandu paniseidu unapadam petten ide innam venduvadendai. Oh Lord, Tirupper Nagar is a beautiful Divyadesam near Srirangam that we can see. Tirupper Nagar Perumal is there. It's just very beautiful Perumal is there. So he says, Utten uhandu paniseidu unapadam petten ide innam venduvadendai. Oh Lord, I was situated in you, and then with lot of love and affection I did this service. Uhandu paniseidu Una padam petten, then I got your lotus feet. Ide innam venduvadendai. This is what I want forever and forever. What is the service that Nammalvar did? So far he has sung the Thiruvaimuri. The Thiruvaimuri is the service that he has done. Uhandu pani seidu. That pani, that service is Thiruvaimuri. He sang the Thiruvaimuri, situated in the Lord all the time. Now he wants that to be there forever. Ide innam venduvadendai. That is the Upayatil Uhappu, the service, the loving desire for service at his lotus feet for time immemorial to come. That Uhappu, that desire, loving desire, we also should have. That is what this sutra means. So then the next sutra asks a beautiful question and it answers that question also. Okay, if the soul has to not do anything, then what is the real means that actually takes the soul and takes it to Lord Sriman Narayana? What is the real cause for the soul attaining Lord Sriman Narayana? So here again Alvar comes to our rescue. time. This time is Tirumangi and that is what is beautifully quoted by Pillai Lokacharya. உன்மனத்தால் என் நினைந்திருந்தாய் என்கிறபடியே பிராப்திக்குபாயம் அவன் நினைவு. உன்மனத்தால் என் நினைந்திருந்தாய். O Lord, what is it that you are thinking with respect to the soul? That is Lord's thought process, the Lord's thought to save the soul, the Lord's desire and thinking to save the soul. That is the one that is the real means for the soul reaching Lord Sriman Narayana. Here, this Pasuram comes from Periya Tirumozhi. In this specific Tirumozhi, Tirumangiyalvar takes the form of Parakalanayaki, takes the form of a woman, and her mother, Parakalayaki's mother, is talking about her girl who is in love with Lord Sriman Narayana and wants to reach Lord Sriman Narayana as soon as possible. And this Pasuram is such that it is about Lord of Thiruvidandai. Thiruvidandai is a place which is near Mahabalipuram. Beautiful Divyadesam is there. And the Tirumozhi is also beautiful. Kevalam Manmadipol Tirumuhatarivai. It starts, this Pasuram starts, is the first Pasuram in the Tirumozhi. So there he says, Nilthal nayandirunda ivalai unmanathal en ninaindirundai idavendai endai pirane. Unmanathal en ninaindirundai idavendai endai pirane, the mother asks. So the Pasuram basically describes that the girl, Parakalanayaki, even though she knows that Lakshmi, Sridevi, is always with Lord Sriman Narayana, but she does not want to give away her desire to reach Lord Sriman Narayana, this Parakalanayaki. So she has not lost the love for you and her extreme desire to reach you. Nintal Nayandiranda, she is always wanting to reach your lotus feet. For that girl, Unmanatal en Ninaindirandai, what is it that you are having in your mind for her? What is it that you are thinking in order to save her? Idavandai endai pirane, O Lord of Idavandai, you tell me. That is what the mother of Parakalanayaki says. So from this it is very clear, very very clear, that no matter what Parakalanayaki wants, it is not the means. Unmanattal en ninaindirandai, the mother asks, what is it that you have thought in regard to my daughter, is what she has asked. And Alvar shows us the way. This basically means that the real means for the soul to reach Lord Sriman Narayana is the thought of Lord Sriman Narayana to save the soul, and not anything that is done by the soul. That is beautifully shown to us by Pillai Lokacharya, and of course that is shown to us by Manavala Mamunigal in his Vyakhyanam also. So this thought that the Lord has, is it only coming once in a while and going, or is it permanent? The next sutra answers that. The next sutra basically says, Adudhan Epodum Undu. That thought that the Lord Sriman Narayana has to save us is there all the time. It is there throughout our births, all the births that we take. It is there when we actually are going away from Him in material pursuits also. And it is there now when somebody wants to do some surrender. Also it is there. So then the question comes, why hasn't that thought given fruit at this point in time? Then why is the soul not saved till now? The next sutra answers that. Adu phalipade ivan ninaivu marinal. That will give fruit when the mindset of the soul changes. What is the mindset of the soul that needs to change? That is also explained to us beautifully by Manavala Mamunigal. That thought of the soul basically is Swarakshana Chinta. The soul wants to save itself. So it is trying this means or this yaga or that yaga or that meditation or whatever it is that it is trying to do. When the mind of the soul changes, stops doing that, and then Swarakshana Chinta is stopped and leaves everything up to Lord Sriman Narayana, then the thought of Lord Sriman Narayana will give fruit. That is what Manavala Mamunihal says here, and of course Pillai Lokacharya has said that in the Sutram also. The next Sutram provides an example from the life of an Acharya about this concept. 69th Sutram. அந்திம காலத்துக்கு தஞ்சம் இப்போது தஞ்சமென் என்கிற நினைவு குலைகை என்று ஜீயர் அருளிச் செய்வர். Nanjiyar is the Jiyar referred to here. Nanjiyar once visited his Sishya who was not keeping well. He had some affliction, some disease. The Sishya asked a question of Nanjiyar. O Acharya, please tell me about a thought which can be my refuge which I can take refuge in at my Antima Kala, during the time when I am about to depart this body. For that, Nanjiya responds back to him and said, O Sishya, the thought that you should have, that is your refuge, is that you should leave the Swarakshana Chinta. You are thinking about saving yourself and you want a thought that will be your refuge because of that. So stop that thinking. Stop your Swarakshana Chinta. Do not think about saving yourself. That is the Tanjam, or that is the thought that you should have for the refuge. That is what Nanjiya says. So this gives an example from our Acharya's life as to how they followed this principle of not having Swarakshana Chinta. So then the question arises, even though the Lord is the one who makes the soul attain Lord Sriman Narayana himself, but the person who is attaining this, isn't it the soul? And the person who is enjoying after the attainment has happened, isn't that the soul? Is the question that is asked. And Pillai says, no, that is not the case. All three are Lord Sriman Narayana himself in the next sutram. Praptavum, Prapakanam, Praptikku Uhappanum Avane. So basically, Pillai here gives a beautiful concept. And Madhava Mamnihal, of course, explains it beautifully in his Vyakanam also. The soul is the property of Lord Sriman Narayana. Think of it this way. We have a phone with us. Nowadays, everyone has a phone, isn't it? A nice phone. And let's assume that we lose the phone. 1 hour gone, 2 hour gone, we are looking for it, we can't find the phone. And then after 3-4 hours, we find the phone. Then who is the one that's happy? Is the phone happy or are we happy? Who is the one that attained? Did the phone attain anything or did we attain anything? In this case, the owner of the phone, that is us, we attained the phone and we wanted that attainment and we enjoy the attainment after the phone reaches us, isn't it? It is the same concept with us and Lord Sriman Narayana. Given that we are a property of Lord Sriman Narayana, even though he is the reason, the soul to reach Lord Sriman Narayana, he is the one who is attaining his property and he is the one who wants to attain his property and he is the one who enjoys after the property is attained. That is what this sutra explains to us. Now today we saw some really important and really critical sutras in what Sri Vaishnavam is about. The essence of our sampradaya is that us reaching Lord Sriman Narayana is not because of anything that we do. It is because his constant desire to save us has saved us. When did it save us? When we left our efforts, which are meaningless potentially, when we left our efforts to reach him, when we leave our Swarakshana Chinta, the desire for us to save ourselves, and completely surrender to him and let him take the lead, then his thought to save us is something that immediately happens. And we also saw the purpose, the reason why we have knowledge, to have the Upakara Smriti, to have the extreme gratitude to Lord Sriman Narayana for having given us the mind to want to reach him and to think about him, and to have the desire to do Kainkarya to him in a loving way. Those are today's sutras. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Thiruvadiyalai Sharanam.
Yeah, beautiful conclusion. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. That's the essence, eh? Yeah.
So sublime.
He's
sublime.
It's
yeah.
deep. He's going to go
very deep.
Yeah, that was a very good example. I thought about losing a cell phone, but
yeah, right. That was a beautiful example. Yeah, fantastic.
If you lose something, lose something which is precious to you, also. So the souls are actually precious objects which are owned by the Supreme, and he's the one who benefits. He's the one who enjoys
Yeah.
everything. It's like it's not really our benefit. It's his benefit. And he's going to go on in the next section. He's going to go on and explain about that realization, because what he was emphasizing here was the swarakshana chintanam, thinking about saving yourself. As long as the mentality is there that you can save yourself, you're thinking in any way that you can save yourself, you just can't do it. You just
No.
you're not you can't be saved. So I don't know. We have actually another class now, but I don't know if and we went.
Well,
so
this is really. Yeah, this is really material that we can think about this for the rest of the evening, the rest of tomorrow. It's enough.
Yeah. So okay.
It's
So
beautiful.
maybe we can stop here today, because
this is very essential. Yeah.
The sutras that we did today are actually quite deep, and they're the first one, or second one, I think, was quite complicated. So there was there was different reasons why we should understand that we can't save ourselves, and also to understand that we're not the doer, that we're not the doer even of surrender.
Just from that, so many people, there may be many people who follow different paths that may also think like that. So it's just as simple as that. Even though they may be following some path and they may be practicing some type of yoga or something like that, but if they, in essence, understand that actually, you know what, I can't actually make this, I can't actually save myself, I only rely on the Lord, then that's also prapati. Prapati is taken place.
Right, but mostly we don't see people doing things and thinking that what they're doing, and not being completely detached from what they're doing.
True. True, because they will still say that. Hang on to it.
If you want to know if somebody's attached to what they're doing, ask them to stop doing it. See what they say.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
True. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. That's a really good one.
If the person says, yeah, of course, it's I mean, it's like I think I don't know. I don't want to be negative about this, but my experience was say in ISKCON, sometimes as a pujari, sometimes you get very overburdened with doing a lot of seva, So sometimes you ask somebody, Prabhu, can you, could you cook tonight's offering, or could you do this arti, or could you do this, service, or just any service? Doesn't have to be pujari service. Just like you see a Vaishnava and you say, Prabhu, there's this service that needs to be done for God, for the Lord. Can you do that? And people will say to you, I really can't do it because I have to finish my rounds. Okay? So what's the point here? The point is he's chanting his rounds, and in the rounds he's chanting, please engage me in your service, please engage me in your service, please engage me in your service, please engage me in your service. And then somebody comes and says, would you like to do this service, or we need somebody to do this service? And he says,
yeah, that's a good
example. No, I have to finish chanting first, right? But the chanting is a cry for service. So I mean, there's another a more mundane example is that there was a man who heard that there was going to be a monsoon and a big flood, and so he said no, that people said, well, we have to evacuate this place. We've got to evacuate this place, right? And there's going to be a monsoon. The water's going to come, and everybody's going to drown. And he said, no, I have faith in God. I have faith in God. I'll just pray to God. God will save me. And the rains came, and people came, and they said, you should go, you should leave, you know. He said, no, I have faith in God, I'll stay, I'll pray. So he stayed, the water started rising like that. So then some people came in a boat. People came in a boat, and they said, get in the boat, and we'll take you to safety, you know, we'll take you to safety. He goes, no, I pray to God, and I believe in God. God will save me. Like that. Okay. So then the guys in the boat went away like that. The water came up and up and up, and the guy had to actually get on the roof of his house like that. So the helicopter came, the rescue helicopter came along. We'll save you. We're sending the rope down. Grab hold of the rope and we'll save you. And he said, no, it's okay. You know, it's all right. I have faith in God. I'm going to pray to God, and God will save me like that. So the helicopter guys, they went away. And the water came up even further, and he drowned. Right? So he gets to heaven. He gets to heaven, and he says, "What's going on? You know, I drowned." And God says, "Well, look, I sent a boat. I sent a helicopter."
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
it's a really good story.
You know, it's like that. It's like that. Somebody's meditating. And I want to find my guru. I want to find the perfect guru. You know, and some great sage walks by, and don't disturb me. I'm meditating and praying for a great guru. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. It's very easy to see. You just open your eyes. And so that's what property is. It's just opening your eyes and realizing the true nature of the soul is totally surrendered to God. And therefore you're saved. Simple. Like that. But it's hard for people. Because why? Because it's hard to see things which are right in front of your eyes. Your eyelids are right in front of your eyes, but you can't see them. The closest thing to your eyeball is your eyelid, but you can't see it. So the nature, the true nature of the soul is so easy for us to see once we realize it, but people don't see it. They just don't see it.